Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Nerds. I am Ryan. To my left is...
James.
And to my right is...
Brad! I like movies, and I like weird, nerdy, stupid, independent movies.
Brad, how do you feel about, what's that fucking show? The Big Bang Theory. Are you a fan?
It's the best show on TV.
Yeah,
Wow!
Yeah, you are the worst.
In case you couldn't tell, that is me being Brad, and Brad's not really here, because it didn't sound anything like Brad.
Wait, Brad's not here?
Oh, dude, was my impression that good?
Oh, yeah, no, I wasn't paying attention.
Oh, hey, guess what we saw this week? The Grey.
Good guess.
I know. Liam Neeson versus
Wolves.
a wolf.
Wait, no, there are many wolves.
There is many wolves.
There's a plethora of wolves.
There is. It's kind of like Jaws the Revenge. Remember how they, like,
Is there more than one wolf in that? What,
No, the shark would seek revenge against
Revenge?
specific people.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Except way better done. Anyways.
Well, yeah.
We'll,
They don't kill the wolf by shooting it with a boat.
Brad's not here, but we'll do... we'll do
Oh, yeah.
box office performance this week.
I forgot that we added this.
The first movie, box office performance, was Underworld, which I saw, which I'll get to later.
We called that.
Yeah.
I totally... Well, yeah.
Not that surprising,
Because that
actually.
means that Kate Beckinsale is like the queen of January.
She is.
That's 2 weeks in a row with two different movies.
Number 2 was Red Tails, which actually made more money than people thought it would.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm kind of disappointed. I wanted that thing to sink.
It wasn't going to.
I guess it's true.
Number 3 was something else. I don't remember. But I do know Haywire opened at like number 7. With like 9 million or something, which isn't that shocking. I did follow up with, we were talking about her voice being altered.
Yeah.
What they did is they digitally lowered her voice because I guess her voice was too high.
What?
Yeah.
If anything, I would expect them to raise her voice to make it sound more feminine.
Yeah, isn't that bizarre? Guess she didn't sound tough enough? I don't know.
That's weird.
Yeah, so there's a quick recap of the new movies. Underworld, unsurprisingly, was number 1. Red Tails was surprisingly, I think it made like 18 million. People were surprised. And then there's like conflicting reports. I heard that George Lucas put up $110 million for it.
Ugh.
But then when I looked at the budget on Box Office Mojo, it said 58 million.
Well, sometimes theirs is a guess. And
I don't think they
don't know how
include
much
the
marketing.
yeah.
They don't. Yeah, that's simply the
So I guess
the
another
film
50
budget.
million for marketing probably makes sense.
Yeah, oh yeah. Usually you take that budget and you just double it, and that's what the marketing costs. Unless it's really a small movie. But,
That's true.
yeah.
So sweet. It's time for real news.
Yay. It's real news!
Very quickly, because the Oscars is probably going to dominate this, unfortunately. This Means War. Remember we didn't know what the title of the movie, where Spy
Yeah.
versus Spy?
Yeah,
This Means War is rated R.
Uh-huh, which
Much
is weird.
much to the chagrin of Mick G.
Well, and it's bizarre because the trailer we saw tonight says President's Day, but they moved it back to Valentine's Day, and now that it's R, they're talking that they might undo that and move it back to Friday again.
Really?
Since they don't think that people will go out to see a rated R movie, and it's just for sexual content.
Yeah.
I can't believe that what's in that movie is any worse than, say, I don't know, well, I was about to say Underworld, but
Zack
that
and
movie is
Miri.
rated R. Well, yeah,
It's funny
yeah.
because This Means War lost their appeal to the ratings board.
Oh, they actually appealed?
They did, because they wanted a PG-13.
Few movies appeal and actually get
Yeah.
their ratings changed.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know if I want to see it. I'll probably have to go see it because of... And
He was pointing to Laura.
and my wife. She likes stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Obviously, and it struck a chord with the audience when we saw the movie day because the trailer came out and people were laughing and having a good time.
I was laughing too, but only ironically.
Is it because we're supposed to take a director seriously and he goes by McG?
Dude, I like McG. No, really. Charlie's Angels is a good movie.
Do you know that porn directors rename themselves too?
Really?
I think his...
To what? Like, Director Manrod?
Think of like a good one.
Huh.
Calling
What?
yourself McG, the director reminds me of.
Yeah, I think it was a nickname. I believe it
his
was
last
like a
name's
childhood-
like
yeah.
McGrath or something.
Yeah.
In my weekly Spidey news, they're focusing heavy on Peter Parker's father when they released the official synopsis of the movie. where he's trying to figure out who his father was, and that his father worked at Oscorp with Dr. Kurt Connors, which is kind of goes the ultimate Spider-Man route, a little bit.
The cat is eating.
Do you have any
microphones?
She was. She'll play with
I just want to
everything.
get that on wax so that Brad knows when he listens to this that we're letting the cat eat the microphone.
Do you have some news for me?
Oh yeah,
before
we
get
got a
into the
bunch of
Oscar
stuff.
stuff?
Yeah, okay, we can leave the Oscars to last. What a great climax that'll be. There's a few little things I want to talk about. This week they found a new. Actually, it's not even a new thing. They found Ed Wood's Final Curtain, which was a TV show that he made that nobody's ever really had a chance to see. They're going to premiere it at South by Southwest, which is kind of cool. I guess when Ed Wood was like trafficking it around and trying to sell it to people, he would tell people that Bela Lugosi died reading the script to Final Curtain, which basically it's this kind of like Twilight Zone-esque kind of show, but made by Ed Wood, so it's complete garbage.
Sure.
I am too excited to see this. Honestly, like I want them to put this out on DVD sometime so that I can see it, because obviously I'm not going to South by Southwest. The other thing is they're talking about making a spin-off of The Office that will star Rainn Wilson.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did catch
So
that.
basically it'll be a Dwight spin-off. I'm going back to what I said 2 years ago. They needed to kill The Office. It needed to just end, and end respectfully. You know, Michael Scott leaves, and that's the end of that show, because this is going to be the worst thing I can ever imagine. Like, you don't take the sort of comic relief villain of the show and make him the center of a different show.
Yeah, it's
Like,
hard.
That doesn't make I can't imagine that will ever actually work.
Yeah, I couldn't even. I don't even know where you'd go with it. You know.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a likable character.
No.
I mean, there are little moments where, like when Jim and Pam are having their baby, and he goes over to their house looking for something and ends up remodeling their kitchen because they had mold. Like, there are little weird things that he does like that where you sort of see his humanity, but not in the way that Michael Scott
Actually, I
did.
think his best moment humanity-wise was when Pam was the office manager, and she's afraid of that she's going to lose her job because Dwight was putting in all these rules. And then he had his cousin Mose tell her this thing so she could circumvent his authority, but he was actually the one who told him how to do it.
Yeah, I remember.
So he has a couple good moments in that
Yeah, he
show.
does. I just can't see a lot of that character is built on sort of like these random ideas that they thought were funny, like the fact that he runs a beet farm and he has his weird cousin Mose, and like those things are so off the wall. It's kind of like what we talked about with On Stranger Tides, where like Captain Jack Sparrow is great in small doses as a side character, but if you really made him the main character, you're going to start seeing the transparencies of he's a beet farmer and things like that. Like, you're going to have to find stories about him growing beets. What is that? But anyway, the other two things are Uggy retired after 10 years in filmmaking. Uggy, the dog from The Artist.
And he was great in The Artist.
He was, yeah. Basically made one movie and then retired. But good for him. And then there was this thing, I just want to talk about this because I think it's funny. A whole bunch of websites had these articles about how Variety was spoiling The Walking Dead. Because they released this story. Frank Darabont, who started The Walking Dead, is starting a show called L.A. Noire.
Oh, yeah. I saw that
No
too.
relation to the video game. And that one of the actors from The Walking Dead is going to move over onto L.A. Noire. And of course, what that means is that he's going to get killed in The Walking Dead. And so we know, this character is going to die probably this season so he can be in the show. Well, it's the character we all already knew was going to die.
Yeah.
If you've read the book, you know
Yeah, it's
that
not
character has to die.
I know, when I read that, I'm like, okay, well, I
Yeah.
just actually expected it, to tell you
Yeah,
the
I
truth.
scrolled down because I was like,
Especially
oh man,
'cause
this
how
is really
much-
going to be something. And then it was that guy.
Yeah, especially how much of a dark side he kind of takes.
Oh yeah, where we are now, you know.
And then,
like,
did you watch the trailer for the second season?
No, I
mid-season? They have a shot of Carl with the sheriff's hat on in the woods, raising
They
a gun.
don't. They don't.
They do.
No. Okay. I feel bad that you just said that because now we really did just spoil what happens. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, because it's more than just shit. All right. Well, if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. You now know the big secret.
Well, I mean, how
But-
many people actually watch the TV show and don't read the comic, though?
A lot. I mean, that show does really good, and comics do really poorly. The truth is, no one. I mean, comics are dying, and Laura keeps pointing to herself. She hasn't read it.
Yeah, but I've already talked to her about it, so she knows. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, you ruined it for me.
Good. Good.
Still, that's all right. Man. Anyway,
Hey, but you know
that's the
that
last thing.
after that debuts, the Kevin Smith comic book show debuts on AMC
Oh, yeah.
at the,
I'm looking
right
forward
after.
to that.
So it should be fun.
Yeah.
The first picture I saw, official picture of it, some dude brought in a Chucky doll for the guys to look at. So it'll be kind of interesting.
It's going to be like Pawn Stars, only with
Comics,
comic
and
books.
that's what Kevin Smith wanted to do. So
That's
it'll be
cool.
fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like a nerd night on AMC between
Yeah.
The Walking Dead, the comic book show, and then after the comic book show, it's The Talking Dead with Chris
Oh,
Hardwick.
they are still going to do it. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I got to start watching that.
You should. It's pretty good.
All right. So now on to the
so-
silly Oscars.
So we'll go on to the Oscars.
I think we should start by saying that I totally agree with everything that Brad says in his article that he wrote.
Oh yeah, you should check that
go
out
and
on our
read it.
Tumblr account.
His
Real
whole
Dot
statement
Nerds.
about how silly and political this whole thing has gotten.
Oh,
is
it's
absolutely true.
It's
and
completely political.
That way we
because,
don't have to say it.
I'll go through the actors first, and then I wrote just down the actors, supporting actor, actresses, and supporting actresses because those are, and director and best picture.
Yeah.
Because actually, all the movies that I think should have got nominated for best visual effects did: Transformers, Real Steel, Harry Potter,
yeah. Sure.
and I'm forgetting one,
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
And Hugo.
and Hugo.
Which Hugo will win because, a mouse.
Oh yeah, totally. So in the actor categories, Demain Bircher of A Better Life. I have not seen A Better Life. Have you seen A Better Life?
Nope.
Don't even know what it is, so
I
he won't
don't
win. George Clooney for The Descendants, which I found out Jim Rash, who plays Dean Felton on Community, wrote that movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he did.
Jean Desjardins for The Artist, Gary Oldman in Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, and Brad Pitt in Moneyball. My pick for this will be Brad Pitt.
Out of those, absolutely.
those,
George Clooney here is, to me, sticks out because I don't think he's really... he's good in that movie, but it's not a particularly great George Clooney role.
Yeah.
He's a...
But I have a feeling actually Gary Oldman's going to win it because I've read a lot of articles about the movie, and they said that it's the kind of movie that you win Oscars in, and his performance.
I think Jean Dujardin,
Yeah,
100%.
he's.
I have a feeling that the artist is going to just sweep
I
a lot of
hope.
stuff.
I mean, it's one of the things. For Best Supporting Actor, it's Kenneth Branagh for My Week with Maryland, Jonah Hill for Moneyball, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte for Warrior. Did anybody see that movie?
No.
Christopher Plummer for Beginners, which I actually do want to see because I thought it had an interesting premise. And Max von Sydow
Sydow.
for
Extremely Loud and Incredibly
Extremely
Close.
Loud, Incredibly Close, and doesn't say a word in it.
Nope. It's a good
So
character.
out of those, I think it'd be kind of funny to see Jonah Hill win. But
No.
I'm guessing it's probably going to go to Christopher Plummer for Beginners.
Probably.
Because everyone has been talking about that movie. And,
it should be Kenneth Branagh.
yeah, but Kenneth Branagh is amazing.
Man.
The little subtle things he did with Laurence Olivier was pretty impressive.
It might be. I can see because there's a surprising number of Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close nominations. I could see this being the one that it takes, and they
Yeah.
give it to Max von Sydow just to give that movie an Oscar.
Agreed. For Best Actress, Glenn Close and Albert Nobbs. There's really no surprises here. Viola Davis in The Help.
You said it.
Rooney Mara in The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Meryl Streep in The Iron Lady. And Michelle Williams with My Week with Marilyn. Which, my two favorite in this are Rooney Mara and Michelle Williams. Those are my two favorites. Of course, I haven't seen Albert Nobbs because that movie looks stupid. Same thing with The Iron Lady. Looks stupid.
I think it should be Viola Davis.
And but you know what? A lot of people think it should be Viola Davis, and I would be sad if she won it.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully she. I hope it's either Viola Davis or
Rooney Mara.
Rooney Mara.
Yeah.
For the Best Supporting Actress, Bernice Bejo in The Artist,
Great.
Jessica Chastain in The Help, Melissa McCarthy in Bridesmaids, Janet McTeer in Albert Nobbs, and Octavia Spencer in The Help.
That Melissa McCartney one is weird. I can't understand why she's there. I mean, I think they wanted to put somebody funny in there. I don't know why.
I
It's
think
weird.
everybody really loves Bridesmaids. I really thought it was overrated, but it was funny. But I'll get to, I think, the most overrated movie that I can't believe.
I know what it is.
For the best director, The Artist, Michael Hanzan Viocious. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. And it's Michelle, it'd be my guess. The Descendants, Alexander Payne. Hugo, Martin Scorsese. What a fucking cop-out. Terrence Malick in The Tree of Life. And Woody Allen for Midnight in Paris.
I don't think there's one here. Well, no. The Artist deserves to be there. Woody Allen. I still haven't seen Midnight in Paris, so maybe that one. The other three, I don't think deserve to be there.
No, especially Hugo. I can't...
Well, yeah, Hugo is shittily directed.
It
straight
is.
up.
Did you know it's nominated for Best Editing, too? I think it's one of the worst edited movies of the year.
Yeah.
And then the Best Picture actually has 9 entries into it, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
Um,
First of all, apparently there is this rule that it has to do with
it's a percentage of how many people give it like their number one overall. I don't even understand it.
Like every movie that's nominated has to have like 2% of votes or something like that.
Entertainment Weekly had like a 10-page article about voting for the Academy Awards. I don't even fucking understand
ridiculous.
it.
Why isn't it just the top 10? I mean, that was the whole when they went from 5 to 10 a couple years ago. The whole idea was, well, okay, we're going to keep nominating the 5 bullshit political movies that we always nominate, and one of those 5 will win. But then we'll nominate 5 other movies that are mainstream and popular to get people to watch this boring-ass, way too long piece of entertainment. That's clearly not what they did this year.
No.
This year they went and were like, no, there's only 9, and all 9 of them are going to be pretty much the things that you expect them to be.
Yeah.
It's the most boring list of 9 movies I've ever seen them do.
Yeah. So the 9 are The Artist, The
Good.
Descendants, Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close, which is getting not very good reviews. I don't know how it got in there.
I've met plenty of like I've seen people say good things about that movie.
I know I have to go check it out. I have a free movie ticket. Maybe I'll go do that tomorrow. The Help, Hugo. What the fuck is that doing on there?
I don't know.
Midnight in Paris, Moneyball, Tree of Life, and Warhorse. I think Moneyball, Warhorse, and The Artist should be in there.
The Help should be in there.
The Help. I haven't seen Midnight in Paris. I'm kind of interested to see it now because
Yeah.
even the premise is kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Where Owen Wilson goes away every night and he travels in time or something.
Yeah, he goes back to the 20s in Paris.
So it sounds interesting.
And it's I think it's partially on this list because it's a year when they can nominate Woody Allen for something.
Yeah, probably.
Because most of the time he makes movies that aren't really something they can get away with nominating.
Yeah.
Um,
Warhorse, I think it won't win because it's. I think it's a good movie, but I think people take Steven Spielberg for granted. And it's kind of just put in there.
I think that they think that is that and The Help are the 2 movies that are going to get people to watch this show.
Yeah.
Because I think they think like, oh, old people like Warhorse. That's probably a thing.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't. It doesn't make sense on this list. It's just, it's a boring ass list.
It is. I hope The Artist wins. I think it'd be awesome if Moneyball won.
Yeah,
but
Moneyball is the best movie on this list.
But we'll see. So yeah, that was my thing that I went through, and I was kind of disappointed. And when I did my list of movies from 2011, I put Hugo like number 46. I think it's the most overrated movie of the year. I don't understand why people are so in love with it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's bad. Like the farther away from that movie I get, the less I like that movie.
Exactly. Do you feel sometimes when people love movies like that? And I mean, we're in a minority because it got amazing reviews.
Yeah. Well,
do you feel like you've missed something in it? Like you have to watch it again to maybe appreciate it?
I have that with other movies. There are other movies where I do that where people love that movie, and I get to a place where I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back. Minority Report is one of them. Like I hated Minority Report for a long time. I saw it in theaters and then didn't see it again, and people loved that movie, and eventually I went back and I kind of was like, okay, all right, this is not so bad. I like most of this movie. Hugo, I fully understand what's going on in that movie.
Yeah.
I also fully understand why I don't like it.
Me too.
That's not... I can't see myself going back to that and going like, oh, okay, so now any of this is emotionally impactful. No, it falls flat on its face.
I think it's one of those movies where it's Scorsese and he's kind of, it's movies, and it's the golden era of movies. And I think people kind kind of felt that way. Anyways,
Yeah,
so that's
it doesn't deserve to
the
be there.
news. I watched a few things this week.
You did?
Me and Laura went and saw Underworld, and I actually like the movies, and I didn't think the new one was that bad.
Yeah.
I thought the biggest problem with it, actually, and it's not even that big of a deal, because you know what you're getting into when you go to see them. I mean,
Yeah.
I do anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
You're going to get this sort of silly action movie with some gore and such.
yeah, I thought there's two bad
much
parts
plot.
in it. One is that when Kate Beckinsale was cryogenically unfrozen, is this mist covered all her good parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like
it's
in really
uh,
poor CGI though.
It's that argument that I always have with Beowulf, where I'm like, either make the person naked or put them in clothes, but don't do all of this like Wilson on the other side of the fence, obvious bullshit. It's just distracting. It's bad filmmaking.
But yeah, actually, I didn't think the movie was that bad. In fact, I thought the little girl who's Kate Beckinsale's daughter in it actually was not too bad. Laura didn't like it.
No, I just think it's funny because she's in a show called The Secret Life of American Teenager.
Oh, well, I don't know that
If
shit.
you watch the first season of that, she is horrendous.
Are you sure?
No,
She's British in it?
What's
she's not British. She's American, and it's just like deadpan delivery of everything. And
I have no idea.
I was
What's-
impressed that she'd come so far, but I couldn't help but think of her character.
I've never watched that
what's
show,
the name of that actress? Because there is, I don't even know if it's the same person, but there is an actress from that show.
No,
who
you're
is
talking
now-
about the girl in The Descendants. It's not her.
Yeah, that's right. The girl in The Descendants was from that, and she's great. Yeah. Shoot.
I'll have to look it up because
Yeah.
that girl who was in Underworld, like,
Was she the main character in Secret Life of the American
she
Teenager?
was like the main character's emo little sister.
I suspect that it's the main character from that show is in The Descendants.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's what
it is.
Yeah. And she's amazing.
Yeah, they said in Entertainment Weekly they have a bullseye in the back, and they had her off the bullseye. It said going from The Descendants back to American Secret Life of American Teenage Daughter.
Oh,
I don't
man.
know. So I thought it was cool. If you like the movies, you'll like them. It was kind of weird when they had like a stand-in double for Scott Speedman.
What?
in it. I mean, what the fuck is he doing right now? Did he ask for too much money?
Oh, wow.
I mean, the dude's only in the movie for like 5 minutes, but it was bizarre.
Is it weird that the movie is like a completely new story and not really related to the old story, or is it more related than I think it is?
Yeah, it's more related than you think it is.
Oh, okay.
And they have like a super huge werewolf in it. I mean, it's all right.
Cool. Whatever.
You know, it's action.
Yeah.
Except they had these strobe lights always going off when there was an emergency at the factory they're holding Kate Beckinsale in, or the lab. I'm like, why do they have strobe lights? Why don't they just... Because to me, if the lights are keep on like fading and appearing, I'm guessing they're doing it for looks, but that's not very efficient.
Yeah.
I
This is
also
not good emergency lighting.
No. I also watched Real Steel again, and I love that movie.
Silly.
And I seriously, I don't know why it pulls on my heartstrings so much, but like I almost cry every time I watch it. I love Hugh Jackman and that little boy in it.
I don't hate that movie. I want to make it clear. I don't hate that movie. I just can't believe how much you like that movie.
Ryan, have you seen Real Steel?
I have not.
Oh, Laura thinks it's stupid.
You should check it out.
I think it's really, I don't know,
Yeah.
robots fighting and then making it like a father-son story to me is just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Sounds great. Why didn't it touch me more?
I don't know.
Rocket Sock'em Robots.
Yeah, right. It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots, the movie. It's
Maybe
great.
it's because I'm not like a dude, but I thought the movie was really stupid.
I loved it, but so I don't care. I loved it. I also watched Gothica because I've discovered that Robert Downey Jr. is my favorite actor, and he's in that movie.
No way.
So I mean, it was instant streaming, so I decided to put it on. The movie's not good.
That's what I remember.
It's one of those ghost house pictures that it deals with ghosts, obviously, or Dark Castle. I'm sorry, Dark Castle. Ghost House is Sam Raimi. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
Dark Castle is a company that Robert Zemeckis and a couple other guys started, where they're going to basically remake William Castle movies, like 13 Ghost, House on Haunted Hill.
I was just gonna say, wasn't 13 Ghosts one of them?
And then they started doing the original stuff, which was Ghost Ship, which has a cool opening, and then there's a really hot chick who walks around naked in it. And then they made Gothica, which is an original, and it stars Halle Berry,
Right.
and she is a psychiatrist in an all-women's prison. And one day on her way home, in the pouring rain,
I was going to say, the rain is involved in a piece of glass, some fog.
No, fog, but it's stupid. There's this girl who's standing in the middle of the road, so she crashes her car. And there's this girl
Why
standing
didn't she just hit the brakes?
And there's a girl standing in the middle of the road, and so she goes to talk to her, then all of a sudden it cuts, and she's inside the prison. And now Robert Downey Jr. is her psychiatrist, and he's in like 4 scenes. He's really good in them. He really is. But then the rest of the movie is just garbage. And it turns out she was possessed by this girl who was put in a snuff film by her husband, and she murdered her husband. I hope I didn't ruin the movie, because if you ever want to go watch it, you don't need to.
Wait.
And
she murdered...
Penelope Cruz is in it.
Wait, okay, so
the girl she saw
I'm trying to figure out.
So the girl she saw in the middle of the street was actually a ghost.
No, I knew that.
And so
when she was in the street, I was like, oh, it's a ghost, right?
And then she possessed Halle Berry.
Okay.
And Halle Berry went home to her husband.
Oh, okay.
And murdered her husband.
Because
he made a snuff film and murdered that girl.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, because when you said snuff film, I was like, how did the little girl murder her husband if she was killed in a snuff film?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
That sounds almost as bad as 8mm.
It's like 8mm, but there's a ghost in it. And no Nick Cage.
Oh, that's that should be the tagline of that movie. It's like 8mm, but there's a ghost in it.
I also watched the documentary called The Pixar Story, which I thought was really fascinating, and how they got their start was really kind of cool. If you should watch it, it's on Netflix. I won't bore everybody, but it's basically how Steve Jobs invested in Pixar, which was a George Lucas company,
right.
Which George Lucas invented this thing called a computer called Pixar, and then they turned it into something droid super editor where he could edit it digitally.
Right.
That they made, and then those guys wanted to make cartoon stuff with computers, and they said, "Well, you have to have." George Lucas said, "I don't have 40," because people don't remember George Lucas actually broke for a long time.
Yeah.
Because he got a divorce and didn't have a prenup, so his wife took almost all his money. That's one of the reasons why he made the prequels. A lot of people don't know. Mm-hmm. Not that he wrote them a long time ago, and then he decided to make them. But anyways, they broke off, and they started off doing little shorts, and they did like the Tropicana. I don't know if you remember the orange and the straw commercials.
Yeah,
they made those commercials, and they did a couple other ones. And Steve Jobs invested $10 million in them, and they pitched the idea of Toy Story to Disney. But originally, Woody was like a total little dickhead because they wanted it to be edgy and cool, and Disney, when they saw it, like the storyboards and the script and stuff, Disney said, "This is shitty, and nobody will like Woody." And so John Lasseter went back, threw everything out, and made Toy Story, this new storyboards and everything in 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Repitched the movie with Tom Hanks as Woody, because they said, "Oh, we love it." And what they did to get Tom Hanks to come on board is they animated a little Woody with his lines from Tango and Cash. It was Turner and Hooch.
Turner and Hooch, yeah.
And so it's pretty funny seeing that. And so it's a really interesting little documentary. And how now they're,
is Joss Whedon in it at all?
No,
because I've never gotten a clear answer on exactly how he is involved in that movie. Like at some point,
he wrote the script and he got an Oscar for it. I don't know. They never mentioned him in it.
Yeah,
I do know that about him. But it was my favorite part about it is when they became so big, and when Disney tried to acquire them, and they didn't offer them enough money, and they said, "You know what, we're going to shop around." And then when Disney came back and offered them, I think $6 billion. Pixar said, the only reason we're going to do it is if you let us make traditional hand-drawn animation too, or finance it. So they didn't make like The Princess and the Frog, but they didn't want to be known as a studio that put the kibosh on hand-drawn animation.
Right.
So that was part of their deal, is Disney has to produce hand-drawn animation for Pixar to be. And it was really kind of cool that John Lasseter fought for that, because he got fired off The Brave Little Toaster, and so he wasn't even working at Disney for a long time.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting story. Check it out. It's like an hour and 50 minutes, so
Yeah, no,
a lot covered. And then the last thing I saw a lot this week was Touch, the new Kiefer Sutherland show,
which is actually the only thing that I saw this week.
Really?
Yeah.
What did you think of the show?
When it started, like, I really knew nothing about the show and had no expectations going in. I didn't even remember that it was the Kiefer Sutherland show. I was just like, oh yeah, that new show Touch started. Didn't remember what it was, but it was like, all right, I'm going to watch this. And it starts, And that opening like narration by the kid, I was like, okay, this is clearly going to be somebody trying to make a Lost. You know, they're trying to make a show like Lost that's, you know, weird stuff's going on and what do we, you know, but man, it put me on edge at first. I was like, okay, it's going to be another one of these. It's going to be like Alcatraz or whatever, which is like, hey, weird shit. Man, I loved that episode.
Me too.
I absolutely loved that episode.
I love that they let Kiefer Sutherland actually act. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love 24. It's one of my favorite shows ever. Yeah. But he, you know, in that he's running, he's yelling, he's shooting.
Right.
And this, he was, you know, all he wants is his son to, you know, touch him and feel, he wants to, because his wife died on September 11th. That's kind of like a recurring theme lately. Yeah. But his wife died on September 11th, and his son is autistic, or what do they call it? Mutistic?
Well, yeah. Doctors think that he's autistic. He at one point calls it mutism. Just because his son has never talked.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily... His son is weird and doesn't talk and likes to write in books and stuff a lot. So it's not... They can't be for sure that he's autistic because since he doesn't talk,
exactly,
they can't get inside of his
head. And I love that all Kiefer Sutherland wants is, you know, for his son to touch him and
he wants to make a connection.
He wants to make a connection. I think the show has lots of potential.
Absolutely. The thing is, you know, the way that I tell people to watch Lost has always been like, don't get invested in the mystery as much. Watch that show for its characters. Like that is a character study first, and then there's this other stuff. And this show does the same thing. Like, it's written by, I forget his name now. It's written by one of the guys who started Heroes. And there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, Tim Kring. There's a lot of stuff in here that's very familiar from Heroes. You know, this idea that like there are other people like this out here. Basically, the premise is that this kid has some kind of magical or pseudoscientific power where he interacts with radio waves in some way. Like, we don't know exactly what it is, but whatever his power is, he can kind of see the threads and make people connect. You know, he does these little things that makes other people connect together. And so what the show becomes is sort of these little anecdotes that then all tie together, and you see these threads. The way that like Magnolia or something like that, you know, where all of these things are tied together.
Like a Tarantino movie.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But you know, it's really well done, and I was actually impressed because I saw the trailer. I'm like, I don't know about this show. Kind of, you know, seems a little iffy. But watching it, you know, it kind of got me interested. And the only bummer is this is a special preview, and the show doesn't come back until March 19th or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I guess they're trying to get people excited and talking about it, and then go and watch the show.
Anyway, where I was going was that this show is clearly doing the same thing, where it's focused on these characters, and like the climax of the episode, unlike Alcatraz, where the climax of that episode is like, oh, that girl was in the past too. What's going on? The climax of this episode is this really emotional moment when, you know, there is this breakthrough between two characters, and you're like, oh man, like, you're invested in those people as characters and not in whatever this mystery thing is.
Yeah, I read an interview with Kiefer Sutherland, and he wanted to come back to TV almost as soon as he was done with 24, not because he had anything to prove or anything, but he wanted to do something different. And he said, I was given a few scripts, and then I read this one, and I really wanted to do it because there's a different side I could play. And I agree. And being a big Kiefer Sutherland fan from 24, I'm glad that he picked a different role and is excited. And I guess he's going to start shooting the 24 movie in April. So
we'll see.
Yeah. So get
your
I don't
Joseph
have much
Kiefer time to watch all of 24 then.
No, you don't. Especially it's like 200 something episodes. Maybe exactly 200. I think the last episode's number 200.
Oh wow.
Anyways, we saw The Grey this week with Liam Neeson. James, should people go see The Grey?
Yeah.
Laura, should people see The Grey?
Yes.
Rafe, should people see The Grey?
Yeah.
I think so too. I'm shocked that this movie is in January.
Yeah, this is not a January.
And it's a pretty good movie.
This is like a September, October movie.
Yep. So anyways, the trailer for The Grey.
A job at the end of the world. I work security, protecting men from the dangers they cannot see. There's not a second goes by when I'm not thinking of you in some way.
Going home, guys. Let's keep it moving.
find food. If we don't move and work now, we'll all freeze to death.
Somebody will find us.
They gotta know that plane went off the radar.
Nobody's gonna find us. Not here. We figure out what way is south and we start walking.
This will be one of those wild stories you tell at a party.
Listen, get up, get up.
Don't move. Stare right back at him. If we can get to that tree line, we can better defend ourselves. Go! Hold on!
You gotta be kidding me.
We could climb down.
If we follow the river, we got a better chance of finding shelter. How are we gonna deal with this?
We take them on, one at a time. I want to see your face. Feel your hands in mine.
Don't stop!
Get him, Liam. The movie is basically a survival horror movie.
Yeah.
Where Liam Neeson plays a guy named Otway.
Yeah.
Ottway. His name's John. And he's a sniper for an oil company to protect the guys working on the rigs from animals, wolves, from killing them. And he is suicidal. Very early in the movie, he's narrating.
He's got this sort of dark past.
You don't find
That's
out.
all characters should.
What I liked is you thought maybe his wife left him, because he wrote a letter to his wife saying, "You're never going to see this, and I don't know why I'm writing this." Because you see glimpses of his wife, but she's always portrayed very sweetly and like kind of heavenly, and you find out why later. And so he's going through the stuff, and then they're leaving this rig, and they get on a plane, and talk about a terrifying plane crash.
Oh, man.
You know what's awesome is I'm totally flying next week, so I'm really hoping that
it's very much... there are a lot of parts of it that remind me of the Lost opening.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's shot more visceral than... Especially the plane crash. But then when he wakes up after the plane crash and then, like, gets up and walks over and sees the crash, it's the shots from the opening of Lost.
Oh, yeah.
It literally is the opening shot of Lost... Then the next shot, and then there's the plane crash. You're like, wait, nah. But yeah, that plane crash is amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty scary, and the way it's shot is really cool because they kind of play with you at the beginning, and then Liam Neeson falls asleep and they played on what the trailer did, because in the trailer you saw his wife be sucked away, and then it was snowing, and he woke up in the snow, and they did that in the movie. But then he just woke up, and he's like, oh, and then he went back to sleep, and then the lights were off, and all the stewardess were walking back and forth. Then the plane just malfunctioned or whatever happened to it.
Well, then it goes through turbulence first, and then it goes down. Like it builds this tension very slowly, and then once it gets tense, it does not let up.
No, and then I mean they crash in this wilderness, and right away these wolves, they crash in the wolves' territory, and these wolves start attacking them. And their first encounter with the wolves is actually they're eating the dead people from the plane wreck.
Yeah,
and Liam Neeson, sees this girl, and he thinks that the girl is saying something, but it's like the wolf just chowing down on this chick.
Yeah.
And he gets in a little fight with it, and then it just all goes downhill for those guys after it.
Oh, man, yeah. No. The movie then becomes a, like, okay, well, it's almost like, I would almost say it's a disservice to the movie that basically, as soon as one guy dies, it's then building to the next guy dying.
Yeah.
Like, you always kind of know, like, okay, well, then they got to find a different way to kill the next dude. And it almost becomes not formulaic, but like you see what they're
close,
doing.
Yeah. Because I mean
we got to pick off the next one.
I guess I don't know if it's cool, but everybody kind of dies in their own way, and I mean it is kind of I don't really get scared in movies, but it is terrifying when they're walking and you see a whiteout, and all of a sudden these wolves are converging on them.
Yeah.
Too bad some of the CGI wolves were really bad.
Yeah, the CGI is done by a company. I don't even remember what the name was now. I read it in the credits, and I was like, I've never heard of these people before. They're not the worst, but they're
sometimes
they
look pretty bad. When the wolves look really good is when they're animatronic and they're done by KMB.
Yeah.
When they're really close and
Joe Carnahan shoots them in a way that's sort of it's up close, or he shoots them through trees and things like that, and goes for more of a tonal shot than actually like, hey, here's the wolves about to attack somebody. Speaking of which, it's directed by Joe Carnahan, who the last thing he did was The A-Team.
A way different movie, and even stylistically.
And before that was Narc. Well, no, there was something between Narc and The A-Team, but I don't remember what it was. Oh, Smokin' Aces. So before that was Smokin' Aces, then Narc, which was the movie that made him big, which was, I think, the closest thing to this. Narc is like a little cop drama sort of movie.
But I will say that the performances are... Liam Neeson's really good in it.
Oh, yeah.
And he does have some great action B-movie lines where he said, let's stick a pole up this wolf's ass and eat it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. And wow, what did he... what did he say to that one guy when they're about to fight that Diaz guy? Not the blood in your mouth part, but it was like they're on the campfire. Oh, gosh darn it.
Yeah,
it was really funny because he kind of looked at the camera and like I don't know. It was really good though. And I loved too when the last guy besides Liam Neeson dies. Sorry, it's no spoilers. You know they're all gonna die. He's sitting there and he's like pleading to God, give me a sign, and nothing happens. He's like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's
and then there's the ending, which is the part that's like, people are going to hate this movie. Like even in our theater, like when the credits rolled, and I knew.
I actually knew it was going to end there too.
Yeah, I knew. It was obvious, and anyway, when those credits started rolling, the obnoxious dude behind us was like, "Well, that ending sucked." And I was like, that's because you don't fucking understand this movie. Like, you missed what was going on.
Exactly.
And somehow you got to this ending and thought that this was going to be good or that they were going to get saved. Like, at what point did you misunderstand what was happening?
And they even led you on because the poem that his father wrote at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously recited again at the end, but I mean, that told you what was going to happen in this.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah. Well, and because by the end of the movie, it becomes this sort of nihilistic allegory for life of like, this is what it's like every day. You wake up and you do it again, and either you live or you die, and that is life. And you're like this, and it's that's what the poem is. And it's not necessarily a happy thought, but you know that's where the movie is.
It's not a happy movie.
It has to end there.
It does.
You can't suddenly have this guy get rescued because then what? Like, okay, now he's on a plane?
Yeah.
Like, his life doesn't get better. It's the same thing.
Yep. And I mean, there's great character moments too. I like when he was comforting that one guy as he was dying at the very beginning.
Yeah.
In the plane, he's like, just, you're going to die. Just let it go over you. It kind of calmed him down. It was kind of interesting. But make sure you stay after the credits because there is a scene after the credits.
Yeah. And he's to not be there.
Yeah.
Honestly,
it doesn't need to
when
be.
it comes up, I was like, oh, don't spoil this.
But you know why I think it's in there? It's because they probably screened that movie for people.
Probably.
And they say, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Because you could not even be Liam Neeson at the end because you really don't see him. But yeah, I do like the movie, though. I thought it was cool. You don't see too many survival movies anymore.
And it really, it beats you up. Like,
it does.
There are a lot of gruesome, tense scenes. There's a lot of
it doesn't really let up.
No, there's a whole lot of them sitting next to a campfire and you're going like, okay, well, one of them's about to die. Don't know when, but one of these guys is gonna get eaten by a wolf any day now. Like, here we go. And then
and they do have that great scene where I thought it was a cool kind of twist where at the beginning Liam Neeson's thinking about killing himself, but throughout the survival, he's the one who's picking everybody up, saying, "No, you got to keep on going." And then the one guy decided to give up. And I've been watching a lot of Man vs. Wild lately, and Bear Grylls says that's one of the worst things you can do trying to survive is give up. You have to keep your mind. He says the most dangerous thing is in survival is your mind, and if you let yourself think that you're gonna die, then you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting how he changed through the course of the movie. Find out what's really important.
Honestly, this movie feels like if the Coen brothers ever made a survivalist horror movie, this is kind of what it would be, especially with that ending. Like, that ending reminds me very much of the end of No Country. It reminds me of the end of The Road, which is not the Coen brothers, but still.
Yeah. I was actually surprised how much of the horror element played into the movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be more of an action kind of survival movie, but it really was a horror movie
Yeah.
where these guys are trying to survive from monsters that are ripping them apart, literally. Great effects by KMB.
I will say that the weakest part of that movie is there is a part where they have to get across a ledge they have to get down a cliff, basically. And just the way that it's staged, like the idea of we have to jump off the cliff and land in the trees on the other side and then climb down the trees is not a bad idea. But the way that it's shot and staged looks like an impossible jump. Like it doesn't feel like, oh, this is really something cool they're doing.
It kind of looks like a matte painting.
Yeah, it turns into something sort of silly, like, okay, well, this could never happen, and we just got to get through this scene, and then somehow the wolves are at the bottom of the cliff again, and you're like, well, wait a second, how'd they get there so quick? Like, that whole scene is not quite staged right.
No, I agree. But, I mean, you could pick apart little things in it, but I don't. As far as a surprising movie in January, definitely.
Oh yeah, I only bring that up because that was the one point where I was like, okay, this is where you're. It was the place where I could see most clearly them. Okay, now this time we're picking off this guy. You know, it was where it started to get formulaic and started to become more movie than like just this tension-filled. How are these guys going to get away from these fucking wolves?
Yeah,
which they don't.
They do not. In fact,
they get closer. They are getting closer to the
Liam
wolves.
Neeson goes right into where he shouldn't.
Oh man. Whew.
But yeah, the movie is awesome.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
It's a really great movie and quite a surprise for January.
Very.
Like as much as I said last week about you have to grade Haywire on a different scale because it's in January. No, this movie in September or October would have been just amazing.
But the movie theater is pretty packed, so I think this movie might do pretty well.
Yeah, and people really throughout all of the movie were reacting and clearly into the movie. Like
they were, unfortunately.
People were enjoying it, and then the ending.
Yeah. And, but, some people are just rude and keep on talking about what are you going to do, you know? The movie was good. I guess if you get a reaction from people, I guess that's all you want from your movie.
I don't know if I like this movie.
Yeah, some guy did yell that really loud that he didn't know if he liked the movie, so everybody knew. In case anybody missed it.
Seriously.
So, cool. You can like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You should like us. If you're our friends and you don't like us, that's fucked up. You can read our blog, realnerds.tumblr.com. You can email me, realnerds@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, real_nerds. This has been a Nebulous Visions production. I won't be here next week. James, you know what movie you're going to see with Brad next week?
Oh, no, I don't. I don't even know what comes out.
I couldn't even tell you. You could go see Extremely Loud, Incredibly Close and see what everybody's talking about.
I do kind of want to.
And then the following week, I get back on the 10th. So, I think The Woman in Black comes out. I really want to see that movie.
Oh, man. You guys are going to drag me to a horror movie.
But anyways, I'll be back on the 10th. If you guys want to see a late movie, I'm back like at 8:30 at night.
All right.
So if you want to see like a 10 o'clock movie. So, did you want to tell the people what you're going to see?
I'm looking it up right now because I really don't have any idea.
I don't know either. Is it Chronicle next week?
Yeah, Chronicle is next week.
That's actually getting pretty good reviews.
Yeah, so that's probably what we'll see.
Probably, if you're going to see it, let me know because I'll go see it when I'm in West Virginia.
Sure.
Because there's a movie theater.
Actually, The Woman in Black is next week too.
I'm going to see The Woman in Black too. So.
All right.
I have nothing else to do out there. I have nobody out there. It'll just be me in West Virginia.
That way I don't have to see The Woman in Black. I can skip that one. I actually think the trailer looks really good. Me and horror movies, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So anyways, so stay tuned for a Ryan-less episode of The Real Nerds.
Oh, so then February 10th is probably Safe House with Denzel Washington.
Denzel.
Cool. Or Star Wars Episode 1.
Oh, or Ryan Reynolds for my wife.
Yeah.
Anyways, get some Birdman Barbecue and listen to Real Nerds. Download us on iTunes. Come on. If you're listening to us on our RSS feed on Tumblr, you should download us on iTunes too. I think the sound's better on iTunes. That's a lie. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.